Hey everybody, Michael Murray here, and welcome to my Vocal Tips Volume 1. I'm going to use a parallel compression EQ today to try and add a little bit of depth to the vocal. Hope you enjoy. Hey guys, so here we are over at the Pro Tools session, and this is a song of mine, the one I used last time, but I think we're in a verse this time. I'll let you listen to that first, and I'll explain what I'm going to do.
I'm sat here all alone now, with nowhere left to go. In the early morning paper, the lonely heights I know. I'm picking up the pieces of the life you left behind, avoiding all the places, but the ghost of you I'll find.
Alright guys, so that's the song. There's only processing on the vocal, roughly what I would do to my voice. So obviously that's the reverb, there's a compressor, an EQ, another compressor, and a de-esser, I think. I was quite essy on that song. So that's it processed. I'll pull that up. As you can see, compressor, EQ, another compressor, a different one to the first one, and a de-esser. And obviously they're all dialed in for my voice. A little bit of reverb, over to ascend, which we have the reverb. I used this in the last video and explained it in the last video, and a high pass filter just to take out some of the rumble. Okay, so this process it's a parallel processing, what would I call it? A parallel compressed EQ, I guess. If anyone's heard of a guy called Andrew Scheps, this is one of his processes. I've been using it for a while now when I've got a cluttered mix. And what happens is dialing a little bit of this into the mix allows you to sit it in the mix rather than make it loud, to sit it on top, and it's a little bit in your face. This lets you bring it back into the mix a tiny bit, less in your face, but with enough spread to do that. So what it kind of is 3 plugins all together. That does one thing, I suppose. We start with a pull tech. I do have 2 lots of this session going on. First of all, with the plugins that Andrew Scheps would use, which is the pull tech 1A into a LA2A, back into the pull tech. They're all doing a separate thing, and I'm going to explain that just now. But obviously, these are Waves and Universal Audio expensive plugins. So what I'll do at the end of this, I will show you how to do the same or similar thing with the stock plugins inside Pro Tools, which can be transferred to, again, any DAW, Logic, etc. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine these 3 plugins to make an equivalent of a 3-band compressor with the high and low bands bypassed, and I'll explain that. So this first pull tech, what I've done here is I've pulled out quite a bit of 100 Hertz. If you look on this here, we've got 100 Hertz kicking there, and I've pulled a little bit of that out, and the reason I've done that is just to smoothen the bottom end, because what I'm going to do over here is I've took it to 8K, and I've boosted the 8K quite a lot. Now I've boosted the 8K because I want this quite airy. So that's my settings for the pull tech. The airy sound is going to go into the LA2A. Now the LA2A, as you can see, is a standard compressor. It's a legend of a compressor actually, and I do use it on most of my recordings. What I'm doing here, this compressor has, now I believe, I've never used the hardware version, but I believe that it had this on the back, and it was almost like a high pass filter. And if I'm right, and my homework's right, it was around about 1K. It allows you to dial in where you want compressing, and this is the trick for this parallel compression or EQ. Basically, I'm going to turn this up full. So this is the full 1K. And what that's going to do is when the vocal gets sent to this first EQ, we've got a lot of 8K in. Now the LA2A is going to compress this down a little. It's going to control the top end, almost like a multi-band with everything bypassed but the top end. But then what we're going to do is after that, we're going to send it back to the Pultec. For the reason being is we've cranked the vocal high end up in the first one, and then we've compressed the hell out of it. So what we're going to do is this second Pultec, we're adding the low end back into it, as you can see. So what it's going to do is boost that back into the signal. Sometimes I'll put a little bit of the 8K back in, but because of obviously the compression coming out of it. But for this particular one, I haven't, just because I don't think I need to in actual fact. So we'll just go with that. That's it basically. And what I'll do is I'll drag up all three, and then what you can then obviously have a little look at them all together and see what I'm kind of doing and seeing how they're working as we play it in. Apologies, my desk is a little cluttered and I can't see over the microphone. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use the Pultec one first. This is the Pultec send. So basically I'm sending my vocal that's already processed. I'm sending it to this insert that's got these plugged on, and I'm going to let you listen to that now. So what I'll do is drag up the slider. I'll play this all the way through, and what we'll do is, if you keep watching me bring this up, you'll be able to hear a difference in the mix. Here we go.
I'm sat here all alone now, with nowhere left to go. In the early morning paper, the lonely heights I know. I'm picking up the pieces of the life you left behind, avoiding all the places, but the ghost of you I'll find.
So there you can hear there's a definite difference in the mix. It sits a little wider and it adds a little bit of presence due to the airy 8K being compressed, and then the bottom end added back in gives you that fullness, but without over EQing, without adding too much in and bellying a kind of mid-range sound that you didn't want. The compressor's taken that out. This was quite a wide Q. I think it goes from around about 4K up to the 8. So obviously it's not just 8K that's being boosted high. It's anywhere from 4K up to about 10 or 12 in the curve that this gives. So yeah, that's how you achieve that sound. Now I did explain that I will do that with stock plugins too. So let me mute off this one and get rid of these. Now, if you see my last video, you'll have seen that I used Pro Tools EQ and Pro Tools compressor limiter. And I've done the same with this one. Again, I've already got this set because it would take too long to dial it all in on a video. But this is it. So we start with the EQ, then we go into the compressor, and then we have the second EQ. Now let me explain. I've tried to copy this as much as I possibly can. It's definitely added a different sound. You know, these have got different emulations of circuits. The Pultec and the LA2A are emulated from, you know, the original hardware, where these are just stock plugins. They do a job, they will add sound, and they are nice, but you got to remember that these have cost a lot of money. So obviously these guys add a different character. Having said that, we'll have a listen and see what you all think. So again, what I'll do is I'll drag up the slider, I'll play the song, and then I'll raise the slider halfway through for you to hear. See what you think.
I'm sat here all alone now, with nowhere left to go. In the early morning paper, the lonely heights I know. I'm picking up the pieces of the life you left behind, most of you I'll find.
So there you go, that's doing it with stock plugins. Just to recap, we've got an EQ going into a compressor. The first EQ is taking out a little bit of 100 Hertz, adding a lot of 8K, a lot of air to it, send it into this one with a high pass filter, and the LA2A will be only compressing the top end and then adding some of the bottom end back in, gives you that character. And again with these guys, I've done the same, rolled off the bottom end, added a lot of 8K into the compressor. I must say about the stock compressors, you've got to make, this will only work, you've got to make sure that it has a built-in high pass filter that will self-key it's a side chain, but it'll self-key itself. So obviously we take that to 1K, which is roughly I think what the LA2A does. Make sure that's in first, because otherwise this isn't going to work. And then again, back to the third EQ, the 100 Hertz back in, and taking out the 8K. And there you have it, a little trick. So if you've enjoyed this video, as I said last time, please give me a subscribe, like the video, and in the comments let me know if there's anything else you'd like to know. If I know anything about it, I'll do a video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye now.